Hey there, and welcome back to Automation Nation. Today we are going to be talking about product managers at H Barnum. I'm Cody, like usual, and I got Derek with me here today, one of our product managers.
Yeah,
And I just want to figure out what product managers are and what they do with Barnum.
yeah,
Because, I mean, again, it's kind of one of those things that you guys are seen all over the place, do a lot of stuff, and some of us don't even know what you do. Our customers might not even know what you do really until they actually talk to you.
yeah.
So, um, Derek, let's
yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks for having me on. So, as a product manager at H Barnum, we're a conduit for our for our sales team.
mhm.
We work between the supplier and the salespeople. Providing them new products, product updates, going on calls with them, being a technical sales lead. Kind of that second meeting
Mhm.
after the salesman digs something up, we can go in and help bridge any kind of gap on technical questions. And then if any relationship information between the suppliers and our management, our customer service, our tech support, all that information kind of flows through us. So it's one common voice that comes from the product managers that cover all of our different product lines.
Sure. So covers all the product lines. You got a couple different well, actually, how many product managers are there actually before we get into it?
Yeah.
There's you and a few others. We had one on a couple episodes ago for some SMC stuff,
Okay.
but how many guys actually are considered product managers?
Yeah. So in total now we have nine people that are considered product managers. Five of us, product manager is our day-to-day business. Three of them are also sales managers, so they have a sales team along with a couple of product lines that they manage. And the third is actually our engineering manager and also covers a couple of our lines.
Okay. Yep. So then so you five that kind of that's all you do, product managers. Is there any real difference to your day to day versus the sales managers, engineering manager that fall under product manager as well?
I would say the five of us, we cover more lines. The sales managers really only have maybe two product lines that they cover.
Mhm.
Us five, how it's broken up. There's three that cover SMC, some of our pneumatics and some of our linear motion activities, and then my counterpart, we cover everything that's within the safety realm, and panel components and cable management. So for our day to day, I guess we might be a little more technical, answering more questions on the day to day basis about each product within the product lines.
Mhm.
While the sales managers obviously have their jobs, whether selling to customers or being a manager to the salespeople that are underneath them. So a little bit less on the technical side, more on the sales side of it.
Sure. Well, good little recap on what product managers are. So you personally, how long have you been at Barnum? And did you jump right into product management? What have you been doing prior to that? I mean,
Yeah.
I know for a fact you didn't just jump right into product
Right,
management, but
right. So I started at Barnum in 2011. So this will be my 14th year at Barnum. Started in the warehouse while I was in college, working part time, then went on to full time over the summertime, and then I actually moved into our tech support group, start of 2012, and was there for 7 years.
so you jumped pretty quick from warehouse into tech support there. I mean,
Yeah,
excellent.
yeah. The tech support manager asked if I was interested in taking over a job, and just basically jumping in feet first. And
So you were doing it while you were at college, though, right?
yeah,
So what
yeah.
were you going to college for? Anything that has anything to do with this?
Nothing to do with engineering at all. Really, I was going for business finance at the time, right? And I decided to when asked to come up, I did ask the question, do I need to switch my major to do something like that? And it's like, no, well, the Barnum culture, the learning the product within our tech support and all that will, teach me kind of all the stuff I need to know
Sure.
engineering wise, right? So, not as high level as some of the engineers, but when it comes to actual physical product that we sell, how it works and how it can work for the customer is where we're helping out.
I mean, it seems like that's kind of the theme anyway with us too. Is there's a lot of us at Barnum that what we went to school for has nothing to do with what we're doing
Yeah,
here because Barnum
correct.
does such a good job of kind of training as we go and learning as we go,
Right.
and especially with people that move up into different positions like you did.
Yeah.
So you were in tech support, so you're in the warehouse, learned enough about Barnum that's willing to go into tech support and do very well into tech support, and then into the product management. I mean, comparing them side by side. Obviously, you probably enjoy the product management a lot more than tech support now.
Yeah, yeah, get it.
But like, I mean, were you trying to get out of tech support and find something new, or did the opportunity just kind of present itself?
Yeah, the opportunity kind of presented itself. I always knew that I wanted to be out on the road with customers. You know,
Mhm.
I felt like I could be in front of a customer and be able to help solve solutions and be able to see what's going on, you know, within tech support. I know you spoke with Brian, one of the tech support managers. You know, they're answering the phone calls, they're on their emails, helping customers all
Mhm.
day long. But I'm a hands-on learner, right? So getting in front of the customer, seeing what they're doing, seeing how Barnum can create a complete solution, right? To
Mhm.
you know, to solve some problems that they might be having on the floor.
I
So
feel like I'm in that same type of boat with our apps group
yeah,
because apps group has been a lot of routine, just kind of like tech support on steroids, where you're sitting there, you're doing a lot more just on the computer, on the phone, and that just wasn't doing it for me as well. I needed to get on the road, hands on. I needed
yeah,
to help out more, and that's what kind of was nice is our engineering manager created her own group around a couple guys like me who wanted to do that type
yeah,
of thing, create our outside apps group. So our outside apps group almost kind of feels like a pseudo product manager role because we're in that same kind of boat as you,
right,
where we are that bridge between, the support, the knowledge, and the sales,
correct,
but face to face with the customers.
right.
So it's kind of a neat little relation there. The only difference is the outside apps guys have to get even more nerdy involved in the
Oh yeah,
products
yeah,
than
yeah,
I think you guys even
yep,
have to. I mean, obviously there's certain things like the safety stuff that you guys, I mean, we push on you. You guys are kind of the experts on.
yeah,
Um, obviously we learn the programming and everything else, but you guys are definitely the first ones to know how things work.
yeah, yeah, for
So
sure.
in that aspect too, in that product manager role, how in depth on the products that you directly manage do you get in? Like, do you feel like you could grab one of those products, demo right in front of a customer all day, every day because you're trained up on it, you're familiar with it?
Yeah.
Or are you really more surface level?
Oh no. So when it comes to like a new product or even all of our products, you know, as I moved into product management, obviously I knew a lot about individual components,
Hmm.
right? So in the reading through a tech sheet, being able to say, okay, this is this outputs like this makes this relay go like this, right? When it comes to all of our different products, demoing in front of a customer, yeah, all day every day, being able to show off how it functions,
Hmm.
and as soon as we get to, hey, we need to open up the PLC program and make some ones and zeros go like
Yeah.
this, that's when I call you, right?
There's
That's
a
when we
difference
get you guys
between
involved, right?
talking intelligently about something and telling other engineers how something
Oh,
works. I mean,
100%,
yeah,
yeah.
there's a gap there
Yep.
where there's questions that are going to go above even some of our heads, and we got to do a lot of research.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
But um, are the other guys in your group kind of in that same realm? They're pretty darn familiar with it as
Oh yeah.
well. They're really well versed in those products. They can answer questions.
Yeah.
They're on top of it.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So all the different product managers, the we have a more in depth because we're living and breathing that product line,
Hmm.
right? So, when with you spoke with some of our SMC product managers. I know a lot about SMC because I worked in tech support and worked with that a lot. But when it comes to, do they know my product line versus me knowing theirs? No, I'm not going to be able to
Yeah.
completely take over and sell it the way that they can,
Hmm.
right? Because they've used the product, they've wired it up, they've plumbed it, SMC wise, right? And we're living with our product lines all the time, learning in depth on how all of those work, right? So
Sure.
yeah.
How often do the salesmen directly lean on you guys, or are you kind of more doing your own thing?
Yeah, so I mean, salesmen are relying on us, all the time. So we're getting emails, just quick questions, right? I'm at a customer right now. Can you and they're getting an air coat on their light curtain for safety as an example, right? Can you jump on a phone call with them, walk them through it,
Hmm.
right? So that's the after sale portion of what product manager can do, just like tech, a little bit like tech support, right? They're getting that initial phone call for building up a part number, and then also, hey, I'm having an issue with it. So as a product manager, do the same thing, but then we take it to the next level on like some of the pre-sale, right? When it comes to light curtain, that same customer, we might have been called in from our from our salesmen and said, hey, can you guys come demo one of these, show them how it works, show them the advantages versus what the
Hmm.
competition has, all of that, right? And then once the customer is going to utilize it, any issues on the floor, we're more than happy to come out on the floor, help them set it up, and take a look at any wiring and say, yep, you guys are good to go, and that sort of thing. So
I would say that's mainly what I would see other places bring in the supplier for, a supplier expert,
yeah,
right from that product.
yeah,
So you guys being able to be that person for Barnum
correct,
is, I mean, again, just a big value added thing
yeah,
on its own, because now it's one less third party to deal with. Maybe you're more available.
hmm
And then I guess maybe
and the
not as limited. Some of the suppliers can only go certain areas, or
yeah,
there's only one guy that handles it. I mean, you guys got
exactly,
multiple
that's
people, and I mean, you guys go everywhere Barnum
yeah.
wants you,
Yeah.
technically.
Yep. We've expanded south. It used to be okay. We've got a 4 or 5 hour drive to go. Now it's hopping on planes, right?
Hmm.
That going down to some of the new territories, which has been fun. You're seeing a whole different world. In the different markets, right? It's not Michigan and Ohio and Indiana
Hmm.
focused like it was just 5 6 years ago.
Yeah,
And we've got
seeing the
customers,
same 30 customers over and
right?
over and over in
Yep.
Southeast Michigan and Ohio, and now
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot different things
Yeah,
too, which is
and
cool.
automation's expanding like crazy too, right? So it's you're working with customers like UPS and your Amazon and all these
Hmm.
different ones where it was for a long time it was a lot of hey, we're doing work for Ford, GM, Chrysler, Stellantis,
Yep.
and so you're seeing different applications, which is awesome. And to speak to kind of your original question, the suppliers. Some suppliers don't have a sales base that has a lot of account managers that are able to go on calls.
Hmm.
And then the benefit of a Barnum product manager is we can help create the whole solution, right? So a single supplier coming in
Sure.
might not be able to point out, oh, we can do this on this portion of the application too,
Yep.
and kind of bring it all together into one big and like I said, one big solution for the
Yeah,
customer,
I
right?
guess that's a huge part of Barnum as well, because we have such a blanket of
Yeah,
things we cover. The whole solution, I mean, the whole darn factory floor can come through Barnum if we really wanted to.
yeah, right,
And so, yeah, having your knowledge base to piece it all together
yeah,
instead of just
right.
drilled into one thing.
Yeah, yeah. For instance, one of my my product lines, like I think I alluded to earlier, safety, the cable management, and panel components, right?
Hmm.
So when we're going on a call for bulk cable, well, we also have cable tray. What are you guys using for cable tray? How can
Yep.
we help with that? Who's your current supplier having any issues? We Barnum has a lot of inventory on a lot of that different product, right? So
Hmm.
able to, like I said, tie it all together.
Well, I guess too, like cable management, you're going in looking at a robot, looking
Yeah,
at dress packs. Obviously, getting into that robot, there's going to be safety involved. There's going to be everything. I mean, you look at a robot cell, the amount of stuff that Barnum supplies in a robot cell, you can just stand in there and
yeah,
piece it all together and give more options
yep.
than if we just brought in one rep from our supplier who's going to be streamlined
Laser
on
focused. Yeah.
just that
Yep.
one spot.
Absolutely.
So that, yeah, that's a huge benefit. Um, how often do those type of things come up from the customers directly? Like, do customers let me reach out to you, email you guys, call you guys, and
Oh
say,
yeah.
"Can you come help this out?" Or is it almost always the salesman dragging you into these projects?
Yeah. For the most part, it's the salesman dragging us in. Now, when it comes, there's plenty of customers that us as product managers have created relationships with.
Hmm.
A lot of years of working. If they're working for same OEM or they're moving from customer to customer, remembering hey, I did have a safety guy from Barnum come in. And they want to implement something that they were doing before. Let's bring Derek in and come look at it. So yeah, working a lot directly with
Hmm.
with the customer. But yeah, for the most part, it's the sales guys bringing us in, or we're utilizing our suppliers too. Our suppliers are creating leads for us as well, right?
Sure.
And so that comes through us product managers. We get with our sales guys and say, hey, there was a web inquiry on one of our supplier site. Let's go in and take a look. Maybe it's a new customer. Maybe it's somebody nobody's seen before.
Yeah.
And maybe a startup, something like that. And we can kind of help them. We can share our knowledge as the sales team, product manager team, applications, tech support. It's like, okay, here's how we've done it. This has been successful at large companies. So a startup can utilize something like that. Like, hey, this is going to save you money rather than spinning your wheels somewhere else and go this route, and we can help turn that around quick, right? So
I've seen it a lot in my role in applications as if a salesman brings one of us around a customer, a lot of times it's like, oh wow, you guys have some experts
Yeah.
that can really help us out more than just, oh, a salesman's knocking on my door.
right,
I assume you get that a lot too as a product manager, where you're coming along some of the salesmen, even with like new customers, new accounts. People might be a little more leery of, oh, it's just a salesman knocking on my door.
Yeah.
But now you got the salesman and an expert on the product line here.
Yep.
You could start drilling with questions.
Yeah.
Maybe the average salesman will just be like, I got to go ask someone. But now you're getting your answer right there, front and
then.
center.
Yep.
And it probably speaks volumes to especially new customers or those classic customers who are like, this is how we've always done it. Why would we want to change?
Right.
Now you get the guy who might be able to answer those questions right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you ever get any pushback from suppliers or anything when you're out? Like, you're doing something and you do it a different way than they would, and they ever kind of
No.
or they really let
Yeah.
you guys run it.
Yeah.
They're comfortable. They know how
Yeah.
Barnum rolls, and they know the product managers know their stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's one of the benefits of a lot of us at Barnum being around for a long time. Like, saying I've been here since for 14 years, since I was in college, right? They understand that we're not trying to do anything to jeopardize their portion of the business, right? We're doing what's best for the customer, and so yeah, any kind of pushback. I mean, obviously every supplier wants to sell, right? So they're providing us materials of, hey, here's a new product update, here's a new spec sheet, here's a new a new part, anything that they can provide us, and then it's like, hey,
it makes
get
their
with your
job
salespeople.
easier
Right.
when you can handle it versus them always. How many other darn distributors or whatnot that they're working with too? They probably got a lot more on their plate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, and we're able to, like, being that midway point between our tech support applications and our sales team, right? We're able to explain it to the salesman the right way for them to reiterate to their customer, right? So we're teaching them what could be surface level on a brand new product that they haven't been able to get their hands on yet, but they do have a customer that could really utilize this, could save them some money in their process, right? And then if they get somebody interested, that's when they call me. They call you, somebody that's going to be outside that can, hey, demo this product for me, show me how it works, how it's actually going to save me money, because every sales guy says that this is going to save you time and money, right? But it's got to be proven out sometimes, right?
absolutely.
So,
how much just like teaching do you think you do? Whether it's teaching the salesman about products so that they can do this without you, or just straight up teaching and training customers, or just teaching and training internally?
It's that's the training is kind of training is a constant, right? So we're onboarding a lot of new sales people. I think we're up to close to 70 sales now. So when we bring in a new group of sales, they're going through a training, whether it's 3-4 weeks, every couple weeks coming through, teaching them the products. Then when it comes to our inside team, setting up training, either I'm doing it personally or our supplier has a applications, basically like yourself at the supplier, that can come to the distributor, because we're their customer, right? So they're coming to us, do the training for you guys, show you how it all works. Or if it's something that something that Joe and I can do, like the safety side, we train our tech support team all the time, because they're onboarding either new people or somebody's kind of graduated, throughout their process, in it a couple of years, starting to understand, okay, let's get a little bit more in depth. How do they, and rather than be scared of safety, right? That's kind of nobody wants to recommend the wrong thing, because you don't want to get somebody hurt.
Certain things,
right?
safety is one of them, where people see that buzzword coming to their email and they're like, oh, just push it off to Derek real quick, but I mean, it's a lot more beneficial if someone at least knows enough to be dangerous.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Exactly. Yeah. That's kind of how I cut my teeth on it. I like to. I just would grab some of the safety equipment, all the relays, and let's make it go. Let's make it work. Right. Make it turn on and off. Turn off a light. Turn off a motor. Whatever it might be. Whatever I can get my hands on. Really,
mhm.
just to learn it, because I can read it. I can look at a wiring schematic inside of a catalog, but that doesn't mean too much. Too much
Oh yeah,
when you need to troubleshoot something on the floor. Right. So.
and safety stuff is kind of a realm in its own, and the fact that one, it's unique wiring and unique just setup in general, but then there's also kind of legal stuff with it.
Yeah. For
So,
sure.
like with safety, as a product manager for our safety side, do you guys ever actually get into the realm of recommending things? Or is like that kind of a, we got to pump the brakes on that because if someone does get hurt, Barnum doesn't want to be in play with that?
Yeah. Yep.
Or,
So when we're recommending products, right, especially on the safety side, right? So we're verifying with the customer. Okay, whether if it's an OEM, their customer is going to be the end user, right? So
mhm,
the end user is going to be getting their product. Do they have a safety category that they got to follow? So they need to be category 4 safety, kind of highest level. Then okay. So when once they reach out to us, say, hey, I need a door switch, I need non-contact, I need all of these different pieces. Okay, if we've got to keep that category 4, here are the products in order to do so. So we can recommend products that way,
yeah,
right? By saying, hey, this is going to give you the highest performance level you can in your on your safety circuit, right? When it comes down to uh, in the field taking a wire and plugging it in, that's where we start to
I would hope
that's
so.
where
Yeah.
liability creeps in, right? So I know it's frustrating too, because I'm sure you've done it too, where you're sitting outside a panel and you're like, oh, I know it's wired incorrectly, but I have to wait for the right electrician, right, somebody to come here
Yeah.
and make that change, because I can make the recommendations to make it all work, but I can't physically
hmm
do it. Just like we've got safety controllers. Setting up a safety system for somebody,
Yep.
I can set it up recommended, and show them, but I physically can't send them that program
Yeah.
and have them utilize it, right? Because then it's tied back to us, and there is that liability to it. But I think that a lot of customers, I think every customer really understands that
I would
that's
hope so.
yeah,
I
right.
mean, there's a difference between giving someone a piece versus doing the whole system. And if people don't understand, there's other things in play than just the little bit that I
Yeah.
can do.
Hmm.
I would hope it doesn't get too
Yeah.
hairy.
Yep.
um, do like the sales managers that do product management ever get that deep into it? Are they on customer floor very often, or is this kind of they'll train people up on things and get people educated, and really that's kind of the
Yeah, I
as
mean,
far
I
as
think
they go.
they're definitely focused on their sales team, so they're able to be a direct point of contact for for that supplier, for their sales team on the
Hmm.
road. When it comes to traveling to outside territories to do those demos, I think that they rely more on the applications team for for some of that, right? Um, but yeah, they're still there for the day-to-day question, like, hey, I've got an opportunity for a customer,
Hmm.
how can we get them better pricing, how can we improve delivery? That's a lot of the stuff that we're working with, the supplier management side, right? So a question that could get filtered through a supplier account manager,
Hmm.
but going directly to like the shipping department, going directly to all these contacts that we have at the facility, in order to explain to them the opportunity and where we're going with this, and either get something faster, or, like I said, provide a better price for a large opportunity.
Sure. Um, do you feel like when you're in that realm, kind of combining it all together, are you really a salesman too at the end of the day when it comes to that type of field?
I like to think that
Hey,
like to think that I'm helping yeah, like the technical sales portion of it, right? So
yeah.
we're getting more in depth, but at the end of the day, when it comes to selling, we have to prove that our products, superior, or why it makes more sense to use ours
Yeah.
than the competition, right?
Are
So.
there any product managers that are like the specific product managers that were salesmen or like strive to be salesmen? Or are you
Yeah.
guys in this little niche bubble where like this
Yeah.
is the best of both worlds and it's
I,
really don't
yeah, I think so. We have product managers that came from sales and sale because a lot of all the sales managers and
Yeah, obviously the sales managers
were salespeople
were
beforehand.
salespeople, but
Yeah, but there's
individual product managers, yourself, Joe, our SMC product managers, like were they salesmen at all, or
no.
even
Well,
even really care to be salesmen?
a couple of the SMC side, they were a salesperson for a supplier at one point for
Sure.
SMC. So they and then when they came over, got outside of the okay, I've got individual accounts and more. I'm going to take the Barnum company as a whole. Every Barnum account is my account, right?
Yeah.
Is kind of how the product managers work, right? We can
And then Barnum just kind of absorbed them as their own.
right. Yep, exactly. So yeah, I mean, moving to a sales position, I guess that would be up to our management if one of us if it made sense for that to happen, and then we'd have to look at the opportunity. But I think like you said, it's a best of both worlds for me personally, right?
Mhm.
Because we do have a lot of sales guys that are very technical, right? They could be
Yeah.
they could be a product
There's a
manager
lot of people who are ex-engineers or are still engineers that
or
are
worked
on
in
our
our
sales team.
worked in our tech support just like just like I did, and then moved and decided to go the sales route rather than the product manager route. So they've taken that technical ability with
Mhm.
them, obviously, right? But yeah, I like the fact of knowing a product, really in depth, right? And being able to provide that, that information to the customer, right?
Mhm.
So
Be kind of
and to the sales team.
a bear to the company too. If one of you guys just moved into sales and now you're not as easy accessible as an asset, we got to train someone else in to know all the stuff you guys have been working on
Right.
for the last decade.
Yeah.
So I mean, it probably would be kind of a kicking and screaming, dragging you guys
Yeah.
into sales for a few people here
Yep.
that utilize you
Exactly.
guys.
Yep.
This is a good conversation, Spar. We covered a lot of stuff.
Awesome.
Um, is there anything that like recently that you've done that really shows like the benefit of a product manager? Like, I don't know, something recent you went to a customer and solved problem for them or trained up their crew that were running around trying to figure something out. Maybe
Right.
they had an injury and they needed some safety stuff right away, or something that just kind of stands out that you've done that really speaks. Here's a reason why Barnum product managers are super useful.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, it's kind of like a right place, right time, type of situation, right? We were, on a customer floor, and one of the suppliers for cable management. Well, I wasn't even there for cable management, wasn't even a part of it, right? And we were having a conversation just regarding safety and some light curtains that we have been already selling to the customer, but they
Mhm.
wanted to make some changes, add some cascades and all that, and then it was just came up in conversation that their cable tray manufacturer was no longer able to was quoting them crazy long lead times. We were able to on the floor provide them with a cross of part numbers. So basically the catalog in my head of all the part numbers.
Sure.
Hey, here you go. Here's this, and I had just looked it up on my phone. We've got 150 pieces of that tray on our shelf, and able to turn around and get the customer out of a jam that because their previous supplier basically just said, hey, I know we said it's going to be here today. It's not going to be here for another month. And they needed to get that machine out the door.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's a perfect example of just like you said, the extra little bit of knowledge, knowing this product line, that product line, being on the floor for one thing, all kind of merging it all together. And then now being able to access our stock and all that stuff from
Yeah.
our phones, wherever we're going. Part numbers right off the top of your head. You don't need to call tech support and be
Yeah.
like, hey, is this in stock? Because
Right.
the guy who knows it's actually here on the floor with us today.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and there's definitely been situations where unfortunately an end user did have somebody get injured, safety wise. So going in there and solving that application is unfortunate that you had to,
Mhm.
but obviously the safety that they've had, for the past 20 years just wasn't cutting it, and they needed to revamp, and able to go in there and walk out of there and by that evening either at my hotel room or back at home, able to build them up a BOM of, hey, here's how I would do this. Basically a recommendation of if you guys want to get that up to the next category level,
Mhm.
basically eliminate that the possibility of harm. Then here's how we would do it: guarding the safety light curtains in and out of this area, muting all these different things that they just didn't have before. It was
Yeah,
just
and they probably don't have anybody
Yeah.
on staff that is ultra knowledgeable on that. So
Yeah.
either them having to reach out and learn this on their own, or someone who's
Yeah.
terrified to learn it. I mean,
Yep.
they just call you and they
Yeah.
got the whole package kind of put together,
And then,
figured out.
and then like we talked about before, just, you know, direct communication with the customers, right? So an end user, a lot of those upgrades, they're not going to do on their own. They need some type of integrator, OEM to come in, and we can recommend a customer that it's like, okay, I've worked with them for years, you know, helping them, you know, utilize our product in different customers. Give this team a call. They'll give you a quote to you know, to basically revamp this cell, get it up to the right standards, right? So able to, you know, bring in where, you know, the salesman that we were with might not have a customer that does that specific job, but the, you know, the salesman that's a state over will, you know, does, and
Absolutely.
we can basically bring that relationship together, right? So
Yeah, more than just piecing together our products,
yeah,
we piece together our customers,
Yeah,
make some
exactly.
relationships, which is pretty sweet.
yep. It's always fun going into a facility in a new territory, right? And you see a panel with, you know, Barnum material inside of it, or you know, or cell with our material, and it's like, oh, there's our customer from Michigan. It's like, yep, we helped with that. You helped with that last year, and now it's installed on the floor. So you're kind of seeing everything, you know, get you know, put in place too, which is awesome. The more that we're expanding.
Seems like that product manager is a pretty fulfilling job in general. You're always busy, keep busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it's not overly stressful having to worry about sale, but then you also get the fulfillment of learning all this stuff and being the go-to expert. Um, Seems like a position, you know, others in the company might be interested in, you know, move into things
Yeah.
like that in the future. Since Barnum's expanding so much, you know, is there more product management opportunities for people? You know, if you
Yeah.
have other employees watching this, being like, oh, you know, I'm in tech support now. Maybe it'd be cool to do
Yeah.
the same type of thing Derek did in the future. Like,
Right.
is that open slowly? Are we building more product management? Are we needing more, or is it pretty much the closed group right now?
No.
You know,
No,
it's
actually,
not really in the conversation.
the SMC team just added one, right? So so Mike came over and from our tech support. He was actually worked for SMC prior, and then came to our tech support, and now in product management. So yeah, no, there's always opportunities. Our lines are, you know, hopefully moving in the direction of growing, where, you know, and with as we add every salesman you add, you're adding hundreds of customers, right? So
I
you're
would
just
assume, like, we're hiring outside apps guys for southern
exactly. Yep.
territories.
So
We're probably going to have product managers for
yeah.
there too, so you don't have to be away from your family 3 weeks out of the month.
Right. Exactly.
You know, things
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
But
No, it's yeah, it's always open for you know, for anybody to jump into, right? If it
that
comes
conversation is available.
the conversation is available, exactly, right? So, you know, getting in depth on the products is step number one. You know, proving that you can go to a customer and be able to have those conversations. You know, kind of like I said, like we've been talking about, like a little bit off the top of your head.
Yeah.
You
Can
gotta
you problem
be able to know
solve? Are you willing to learn? And can you teach others?
people skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good deal.
Yeah.
Well, I think we covered almost everything I could think of about product managers.
Yeah.
I mean, I learned stuff. I learned some stuff that you guys do that I didn't really know about.
Yeah.
Just
It's always a tough one to explain, right?
it is.
So
'Cause, like I said, it's you're not sales, you're not apps, you're not tech support, but we all see you guys as such like a nice high priority at Barnum. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows product managers are important, but why? You know,
right.
now we know.
Awesome.
But thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks
no
for coming
problem.
on, chatting with me. It was a
Yeah.
good conversation.
Yeah, perfect.
I think we'll wrap it up there, and we'll see what other interesting positions or people there are around this company for us to talk to here in the coming weeks. But again, we got Derek, and
Yeah.
I'm Cody, and see you next time.
Thanks.